Couples like to promise to stay together for richer or poorer when they get married, but keeping that vow is not so easy these days. Early Show contributor Vera Gibbons has some tips on how to recession-proof your marriage. Good morning.
Good morning, Harry.
I can't imagine the recession is having a very good impact on marital bliss.
It's not. I mean, money is a #1 cause of stress in marriages in even the best of times. Now, in one of the worst financial downturns in history, as you can imagine, tensions are exploding. A recent PayPal survey actually found that about 50% of couples say they're fighting more. So you want to recession-proof your marriage before you become a statistic.
And I bet you have tips to tell us how to do that.
I sure do.
Starting with redefine wealth. What does that mean, to redefine wealth?
Well, I mean, Harry, in the boom years, wealth was about the car, the boat, the second home, the vacations. We lived too large. We assumed too much debt. Now, of course, times have changed. We lost an awful lot of money, $11 trillion just last year alone. 20% of our wealth has vanished. So you need to redefine wealth to include other riches beyond the material possessions or lack thereof.
Sure, the health of your spouse,
health,
of your
family,
parents,
friends.
all
That's
of that
becoming
stuff.
much more important now. We're seeing, you know, the resurgence of family dinners, for example, which is a positive thing.
Okay, all right. So first we start by redefining wealth, and then we go to establishing and accepting new roles.
Well, this is an interesting statistic here, Harry. Over 80% of the job losses have befallen men because they're in those distressed industries. They're in manufacturing, they're in construction, they're in the auto sector, for example. And women tend to be in the growth industries like education, like healthcare.
Sure.
So it's wreaking havoc on the family dynamics, as you can imagine. It's causing all sorts of conflicts.
The hunter-gatherer is now sitting there not hunting or gathering anything.
Well, that's it. That's it. 1 in 10 households have actually seen a change in the family breadwinner because of the recession. So you have a lot of these stay-at-home moms now becoming the primary breadwinner, and that trend is actually here to stay. In fact, women could actually outdo the men in the workforce on the nation's payrolls as these layoffs continue.
Yeah, so that's a whole family dynamic that has to be dealt with. So between the redefining wealth and the establishing and the new roles, then you've really got to get down to the nitty-gritty.
Get down to the business here, right?
Schedule weekly money meetings.
That probably doesn't sound like a whole lot of fun, but the idea here is to work together as a team. You've got to sit down and talk about how we're going to pay the bills, what are our goals 5, 10 years out, you know, how are we going to get a retirement back on track. Sit down, talk together. You have to have a plan. And also, you really need to practice full financial disclosure. In times like these, you do see women going out and making sneaky purchases and men going out and making sneaky investments behind their spouse's back. Bad idea. That just makes the situation even worse.
Which all leads to you calling it a family affair. So everybody should be in on this?
Well, I think if the kids are old enough to actually be spending money, they should take a role in actually managing money. And I think now is a good time to actually teach them because they've seen the changes around the house. Maybe they're not going to summer camp this summer, for example.
They hear about it.
They hear about it all the time. So why not use this as an example to explain the hows and the whys, have a yard sale, garage sale, you know, make some money and do something with that money. Save it, use it to pay off your debt.
And finally you say go out and have fun. Now that you've really gotten in touch with your misery.
Right. Well, there is light at the end of the tunnel and you have to believe that.
Yeah, all right. Vera Gibbons, as always, thank you so much.
Thanks, Harry.